Coming to you from the 2018 3i Show in Dodge City, Kansas, welcome to part 2 of Real Ag at the 3i Show. In this episode of Real Ag at the 3i Show, we'll continue to take an in-depth look at visitors, vendors, demonstrations, and contributors to the 3i Show in Dodge City, Kansas. The 3i is a salute to industry, implements, and irrigation organized by the Western Kansas Manufacturers Association. The show provides an opportunity for exhibitors from all over the world to showcase their agribusiness products. Watch all this and more on this special 3i edition of Real Ag. Real Ag at the 3i Show is made possible by
the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by farmers.
Holiday Inn Express and Suites, Dodge City. Whether you're here for business or pure enjoyment, featuring wireless high-speed internet access, heated indoor pool, 24-hour fitness center, business center, sundry shop, and hot breakfast served every morning. Holiday Inn Express and Suites, just across the street from the Boot Hill Museum in Dodge City, Kansas.
We've got to get the message of agriculture out in the urban areas. I think there's a lack of understanding for what rural life is like, for what agriculture is really like, and we've got to continue to promote our industry and open up markets overseas and do all that we can do to get the best value for our products. I grew up on our family's farm in Quinter. I was the 5th generation to live in my house, and we farm and we have corn, wheat, cattle there. I now live in Salina with my wife and 4 small children where I do commercial real estate brokerage. Dad and brother farm in Quinter still, and then on my mom's side of the family they farm in Johnson. But we're great. It's great to be here today.
Basically, what we're working on now is making certain that we get the right and appropriate dates to have the show, because we've had it in times when it's been a little more difficult. And you know, the ag economy right now is having some issues, and so we're trying to make certain by surveys and all kinds of information to have the show in the right date. The 3rd week of March is what our exhibitors, as well as the folks who come to the show, the patrons, farmers and ranchers, said this would be the one to pick. Our plan, of course, is to keep refining all the things that we think need to be here. Not want to be here, but need to be here so that when producers come, they're going to get their questions answered regarding the future of agriculture. We hope the latest technology's here. We hope people are able to see what they need to see, but also get their questions answered. This is one of those shows where you can go and talk to the person that built that, piece of equipment, or the person that's really involved with all the technology issues. It is changing so rapidly. One of the discussions that we're having here, because we're at 3i's is industry, implements, and irrigation, or how are we going to change some of this irrigation work that we're doing? And one of our presentations will be that this year.
Dragonline is mobile drip irrigation, and a better term for that is we transform center pivots through drip technology. We've developed a type of tubing that we actually drag behind the system, thus the name Dragonline, if you want to call it that. I started in the irrigation business in 1972. We were talking about that earlier, but I started my own business in '77. So I've been through a lot of the changes in irrigation, from impact heads on top of the sprinkler to putting on spray nozzles to drops to LIPA, and it always comes up with what else can we do more? How else can we save water? And when you have plenty of water, you don't worry about saving. You just use it. So with saying that, our aquifer has really dropped in gallonage. It's 60% depleted. In some areas it's gone. And one of the hydrologists was telling us one day, if we could save 20 to 25% of our water, our aquifer would last 30 years longer. And so that really got me thinking about what else can we do. And about that time, some manufacturers made a new type of emitter for drip irrigation that would be acceptable, what our idea was. So we've worked with that for almost 9 years now, developing the product we have today. Mobile drip irrigation is not a new concept. It's been around for 15 or 20 years, but it's never been in a state that worked. The idea was there, let's get the dripper on the ground and drag it on the ground, but it would blow around, get caught on things. It wasn't efficient, couldn't regulate it, and that's where we've come up with a process, and patented, by the way, of how to maintain and how to keep it on your pivot and keep it in place, and its exact, precise placement. I guess in other terms, I believe we bring precision irrigation to precision farming. People spend so many dollars to be precise on their farming and variable rate planting, variable rate fertilizer, but what do you do about water? Just throw it out there. So we precisely place water where it's needed and the right amount. Well, I think, sometimes people don't feel the importance of coming to a show to learn about new technologies, but you're always going to learn something. But if you can't come, for example, our website is www.dragonline.net, and that's D-R-A-G-O-N like the animal dragon, DRAGONLINE.net. And we have videos and pictures, and you can learn all about what we do. And we just encourage everyone to do that, to learn about Dragonline and how we can help save the aquifer and save water and save money and labor for everybody that's using it.
They've just, the technology and the size of sprayers and the boom size, it's just exploded. We've gone from pickup sprayers, 500-gallon pulled-up sprayers to 1,600-gallon, 120-foot boom sprayers with new technology, Viper 4 plus, auto steer, auto boom shutoff, auto boom. The sprayer just does everything for you now. It keeps the boom at the right height, keeps you going down the straight line. It's just amazing since I've started and came back in '04, where we're at now. It's just amazing. Sure, everything we order now has a system called AccuBoom on the Raven side. There's different terminology for that type of equipment on different brands, but the AccuBoom, it's section shut off, so it has a lead and lag time. When you get to that applied area, it shuts the boom off for you. Well, we've gone one step further now with two products that we can sell from Raven and Capstan that's individual nozzle shut off, and it shuts every single nozzle off with a solenoid or an ECM on that nozzle body. I'm running a sprayer on our farm that way, and the accuracy that you have when you do a 100-acre field, you come out with minimal overlap or wasted chemical. So we're doing a really good job applicating at this time, with new technology. This one was extremely important to us, where we had two new sprayers that just came to market. The first one being behind me, the SP310, that came out from New Holland. It came in literally 2 weeks ago. We PDI'd it, made sure it was ready to go, and brought it to the show. And then the other one that Apache was generous enough to let me have. It's been at the Louisville show. It went to the GN show in Memphis. The truck driver said it was kind of a pain to get out of downtown Memphis for some reason. I don't know why. And then they brought it to us. We PDI'd it, put water through it. I went and played with it probably 50, 100 acres in a field there in Hayes, just so I was competent in showing it and selling it, and brought it here. And we've had a lot of good questions about it. It's kind of the baby Apache. It's new, air ride suspension. It's got a lot of nice features, a value price, which is nice in this farm economy right now, but it's going to be a fun one to sell. We can see that already. Sure, we just see us for all your spraying needs. We've got a good website where we've got new and used equipment listed, www.simpsonfarm.com. Or, if you find that website, give us a call, and we'll be glad to help you guys with any of your spraying needs.
My name's Gabe Burrows. I'm the Dodge City Community College rodeo coach, and we're here at the 3i show today, having a roping school for my student athletes and anybody that wants to come watch or participate. The Dodge City Community College is just a school that just really wants the community to do well. It wants to give opportunities to people not only in this community but around the state of Kansas and around the country. And we're just kind of starting with the rodeo program and just kind of getting everything fired up and going. So, well, we have saddle bronc riding, bareback riding, bull riding, and those are called the rough stock events. The timed events would be the men's tie-down roping, team roping, which is a co-ed sport, and the steer wrestling. And it's the only sport that I know of in college athletics where I have boys and girls on my team, and we compete with D1 schools. We'll go to K-State and OSU and some of those places to compete with them. The thing that I'm the most proud of is that the school has a lot of programs aimed at helping the kids do good academically. And that's a big focus for us, is that they get a degree. And you know, rodeo's it's important, but it takes a backseat to their education. And you know, it's I think it's a pretty big deal. We've kind of done a few things with the 3i Show in the past, but this is the first time we've done a roping demonstration or anything like that, and it's really exciting for us to be part of it, to get invited to be part of it. It's a real honor and a pleasure. You can go to www.dc3.edu, and that should get you there.
Well, we are an insurance company, or insurance agency, and we primarily sell crop insurance, but we also deal in all kinds of farm insurance. They work really good for us to not only meet new prospects and new potential clients, but even our existing clients. You know, we can have a good chance to see them and visit with them, and we print maps out for guys. So if our existing clients are here, we can print them a map and kind of go over their insurance a little bit with them if they have time, and it works really good for us. Yeah, well, as a service with our crop insurance, we do GPS mapping, where basically we run around the perimeters of a farmer's fields, and that allows us to, one thing, have a visual of his farm. When it comes time to report acres, we can send him a blank set of his maps, you know, of actual fields, and he can report right directly on the fields what he's got planted, and his shares and plant date and all that information. And then after we get that information back from him, we print him out a booklet that's color coded by crop, so it kind of helps him to have a history of what he's done in the past, and also helps him to know if we missed a field or if we got a mistake on the insurance. It usually shows up pretty quick on them maps. I think it's still an important tool for the producers. I mean, it's a way that they can come to one location and meet their individual people they're dealing with, or maybe new people that they're going to want to deal with, and get a personal relationship with them face to face. Where, I mean, you can do it by telephone, you can do it on the internet, but you just don't have that personal touch like you get by coming to these shows and meeting people one-on-one.
Probably been very fortunate that you know, the cattle market is good. Crops now are a little slim, but I mean, everybody still comes to us for their needs and stuff for the farm and ranch. So we survive as the farmer survives.
Yeah, I'm Tom King, and I'm with Calicrate Banders, and we're at the 3i Show showing all of our banding equipment and talking to producers and telling them how to use our products, where to get them, and telling them that they're made in Western Kansas, St. Francis, Kansas, and they've been made there for over 20 years, but now we have some newer versions of it, and it started by Mike Calicrate, and the reason it was started was he has a feedlot. He was a cattle feeder there, and they needed a way to castrate these larger animals and do it in a low stress manner that didn't set the cattle back, and yet they were able to take advantage of some of the natural growth hormones that the cattle actually had with them. And so they tried a couple of other banders and they didn't work very well, so they started working on the Calicrate bander, and then as it progressed over the years, it became the Calicrate Smart Bander, and it was the only banding tool available that had a tension indicator. So we knew exactly what the tension was, and it improved the consistency of it and the predictability of it, because it took the guesswork out of it. We do farm shows, ag shows. We do a lot of veterinary conferences, veterinary meetings, and in that sense we're able to visit with the producers, show them what to use, and we go all over the U.S. and Canada to farm shows. Rachel has done some in South Africa, and so we cover the country and part of the other parts of the world. One of the things, we've done a lot of advertising, a lot of print advertising, and it works really well at the farm shows because people will come up and they'll say, well, we've seen your ads, tell us how it works. And then we're into it. And we get to talk to visitors from all over. There'll be visitors probably at this farm show from outside the country. We'll have, you know, from all over Kansas, probably Missouri, Colorado, wherever they come from.
I'm Steve Larson with Larson Metal and MCM out of Waukeeny, Kansas. We represent out of Waukeeny, the western part of Kansas here with portable livestock shelters. We manufacture horse barns, cattle sheds, anything that's portable that we build in our shop and then we deliver right to you. We build cattle sheds with working facilities, head gate, calving pen, and all the equipment needed, you know, to be able to move the building around and calve heifers, cows, whatever, right on site. Well, Larson Metal partners with MCM out of Waukeeny. They manufacture our products for us down there, and then we sell all over the United States, but Waukeeny handles basically Kansas and anything south. We do some Oklahoma, Texas sales. Our number one product is this cattle shed we have here at the 3i Show. It's a 40-foot cattle shed, has a head gate working facility. It has a 20-foot wing on the front that swings out and works for a windbreak. You can either enclose the building with it, or you can open it up and use it for a windbreak where the baby calves can get in the building, the cows stand out behind the windbreak. I think people are surprised at how affordable these buildings are and how well they work. You know, everybody thinks they've got to spend, you know, $10,000 or $15,000 on a building. This building here is $79.50, and it'll do everything an expensive building will. I ask people, how much do you think this building's costs? And I'll get anywhere from $8,000 to $15,000, you know, and when I tell them it's $7,900, they're really happy and can't believe we can do it for that. Take a look at our website, is larsonmetal.com, and we also have a Facebook link on there with a lot of pictures on it, shows everything we do, and we can custom build about anything you want.
I'm Justin Hendrickson, Operations Manager with Max Chance Excavating out of Montezuma, Kansas. Our company is very diverse in several aspects of the industry, but we mostly do our feed yard and dairy turnkey construction and design. And we also have fabrication of gates and fencing parts, and future is going to lead us to a new manufacturing business that will produce more livestock equipment on top of the livestock gates and stuff that we build now. Well, we meet with potential customers that want to do add-ons for their feed yard and dairy construction, and we sit down and design and work through the options that they want, and then we can do a complete turnkey feed yard or dairy project from the ground up, everywhere from the excavation to all the concrete feed bunks, the plumbing, the fencing, the gates. We pretty much do it all. This show, like I said, is new for our business. It's the first year we've been involved in it. We haven't really had the focus for more of the farmer and the rancher, but our future is leading us towards that. So we're hoping here this week that we can get the news out about our new fabrication shop and how we will be able to accommodate more of the ranching livestock equipment that people are looking for at a show like this. It's Max Chance Excavating. Our website is www.mjellc.net. We're located in Montezuma, Kansas. Our phone number is 800-536-2634. And if you have any need for excavation or feed yard or dairy construction, give us a call.
We're working every day to make sure that we build a Kansas that our children and grandchildren will want to stay and live in. You know, I love that we export a lot of our ag products. I have 4 small children. It pains me that we export too many of our kids that grow up here, move to other states, oftentimes for a job. They can't find the job here that they want. And so we're constantly working to try to figure out how do we grow our economy, how do we have an environment where we have our job creators that are creating jobs that our children will want to live and work in. So that's what we're thinking about every day, and that's what we're working on.
The discussions in my office. So this week was USDA Ted McKinney, and he's with the Trade and Foreign Market Undersecretary. He brought up TPP as a pathway. Maybe we should reconsider going back into TPP. So what is good to me is when the administration, so he works for the president indirectly, works Secretary of Purdue. So when the administration is saying we should at least consider getting back into TPP, and just to reassure you that President Trump's goals are the same as our goals. So I was in the White House about 3 weeks ago to discuss specifically trade with the president, and the USTR was there as well. And I would tell you, if you listen to President Trump, he wants more American jobs, he wants better trade agreements, he wants our country, our economy to go stronger, and he's absolutely convinced we can make a better NAFTA agreement than what it is, and he's going to hold people accountable as well. He's going to hold Canada accountable for some of the intellectual property issues they've got, the dairy issue. We can go on about the China issue. So there's going to be some pain. I understand exactly what you're saying, and we have voiced that over and over to the president in that meeting. Specifically, Lynn Jenkins and I were there talking about the impact of these tariffs on agriculture. But to me, there's always hope. Hope springs eternal. The president is just a really strong, aggressive negotiator. His trade rep is a steel guy, and that's who's in his ear right now. And maybe what's good for steel isn't necessarily what's good for agriculture. But Lighthizer not stupid either. So this guy worked for Bob Dole. He understands all of this. So it's not stupidity. There is a calculation, there's a strategy. I just happen to agree that a trade war is the way to go with this. And we're trying to point him back in a better direction. First of all, what I try to do is keep myself, my staff, and Congress laser focused on the job at hand. So the job at hand to me is writing a farm bill, a strong farm bill, preserving NAFTA as best I can. There's some other issues that I'm locked in on as well, and not pay too much attention. I don't read his tweets unless my staff makes me read them. Every once in a while they say, you have to read this one, Dr. Marshall. Okay, I better read it, okay? But here's my take on it, and I've worked very hard to understand President Trump and who he is. He's the most transparent president we've ever had, and he's so transparent. I think that sometimes the things he tweets and says is him going through this process of figuring out what the policy is going to be. So you're sitting there in a immigration round table with TV cameras on, and he thinks somebody's pushing too far to the right, then he takes the left side. If someone goes too far left, he pushes to the right, but constantly pushing people together. So I think he's negotiating through his tweets and what he's saying, and he's also being transparent about the process. And I think we've seen him, some of his stuff has really worked well. You think of where NATO was a year ago. We thought, my gosh, the world's going to come to an end. NATO's over with. He's going to make them pay their share. Well, guess what? NATO's now paying their share. We have 4,000 soldiers from the Big Red One at Fort Riley over there training with NATO. NATO's never been stronger. 4 months ago, we were going to be in a nuclear war with North Korea. Now here we are going to have a sit-down meeting for the first time ever. So first of all, have nothing but the utmost respect for President Feltz. Another true friend would be considered on my advisory board of people that I listen to from agriculture. Certainly this concept that Farm Bureau is the voice of agriculture is spot on as well. So I think that they're both a priority, and it depends what day of the week it is. But here's what I think. We can control the Farm Bill. So Congress is going to be able to control the Farm Bill. We're going to get a Farm Bill done. There's going to be some crying and gnashing of teeth over the nutrition part of this, I'm sure, but we will get a Farm Bill done. Versus trade right now, it seems to be up and down and pretty emotional. So I'm spending more of my personal time on trade than I am the Farm Bill. But over the past year, my staff, myself, have spent thousands of hours getting ready for this Farm Bill to be shown to everybody. Much like you prepare for a test, in college or whatever. You spend hours and hours preparing, and then you spend 1 hour answering the questions. So I think that's where we are in the Farm Bill process right now. Versus trade is very volatile. So they're both a priority to me. My staff is probably spending more time on the Farm Bill, but me personally, I'm spending more time on trade because I can have a bigger influence on it at the congressional level, working with the USTR, working with the Secretary of Agriculture. making sure that we have a voice there at the table until Greg Dowd, is that his name? It just got confirmed. So Greg Dowd will be agriculture's voice with the USTR, and Mr. Dowd was just confirmed. So when I was in Mexico City, Dowd was not there yet. So there was not a voice for agriculture on NAFTA, not a strong, loud voice like waking up and talking about agriculture before steel. Current most pressing issue on the Farm Bill. I think the nutrition title of the Farm Bill. Now, crop insurance is more important to me personally and to my district, but I think we've got that in a good place where it's we're going to be pretty happy with that language. But the issue we haven't got figured out is the nutrition title, and that's where there's a split in the sheets between the Democrats right now and us. We on the Republican side feel like it's a great opportunity to help someone find a job as opposed to being punitive. And we don't think it's too much to ask if somebody's on food stamps and they're not disabled and they don't have a dependent at home under the age of 6 or 12, that's not too much to ask someone to work 20 hours a week or take 20 hours of training or do 20 hours of volunteer to help them start a new career. So that's kind of the rift right now.
That's all for us with Real Ag at the 2018 3i Show. We hope you gained a better understanding of the opportunities, the people, workers, and struggles that a show like the 3i Show can help the modern farmers, ranchers, or any agricultural worker or consumer deal with on a daily basis. For the 3i Show in Dodge City, Kansas, this has been the special 3i edition of Real Ag.